One hero that gives me the creeps and the goosebumps is Sevarog. His announcement video is absolutely phenomenal. Go take a look at it because he is terrifying. His kit, when utilized properly, is devastating, and a very unique part of his kit makes him scale into the late game. In this deck today, we're taking a look at how do we best emphasize his natural tendency to snowball across the match. How can we make him strong in the early, mid, and late games with some very special cards? Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a Hero Deck and Guide. I am Sylphin. So we're taking a look at my meta deck for him that I think really works well for him, called the Angel of Thorns. So of course we get the Centurion Prime card simply because he ultimately becomes a good frontline utility presence that can deal a lot of damage as well. In the early game, you start off with the Oasis Sylphin into your Guardian's Ward, into a Whirling Wand, and then an Elder Mage Amulet. Gives a good amount of damage to build his stacks that we'll talk about later, and some tank. You get the Blood-Soaked Armor, the Blood-Soaked Armor for Raptors when appropriate, when you're about to do those, and the Shaman's Drink can really help increase Sevarog's ability usage when clearing jungles. Gives a tremendous amount of mana back after level 5, so you can put that on to just help him clear the jungle camps a little bit faster. In the mid game, you start to get into the tankiness and kind of and pseudo utility as well. Here we go for the Madspore Sash and a Stab-Link. Stab-Link makes you able to get behind enemies, use your ultimate, which we will talk about later, and the Madspore Sash to help clear camps, and of course that guard you can start going into if you need to. Of course, in the math department, we need health in order to increase our effective HP the most so that we are more useful more of the time. In the late game, you get rid of a whole bunch of cards here, kind of, and go for good utility and tankiness. Thermobond, Trader's Touch, which is absolutely worth it on Sevarog. Trust me on that one, especially with this kinetic. Snakevine Mesh for that ability armor. And a Thick Blood, so you can focus down targets and really keep them in place. Again, we'll talk about that later. Some optional items: Health Potion, Healer Token, and another Healer Token if you are in the off lane, because Sevarog can work in the off lane. And a Tainted Magic instead of a Thermobond if you do not need that if there's not a lot of crowd control on enemy team, you don't need that, you can go for more damage here on the Tainted Magic. Now, Sevarog has a tough time in the early game as a jungler. He swings very slowly, and because of his first ability that you get, you need to treat the jungle camps a little bit differently. You see me use an ability there, and that's the first one that you pretty much have to get. It's called Sylphin. Now, Sevarog gains a soul stack when he kills an enemy minion or hero with any of his abilities. Hero kills grant 3 stacks, minion kills grant 1 stack. His health, damage, and abilities grow in power at 20, 50, 90, and 140 soul stacks. The stacks that you have are right down here, but beside your Q. And of course, replay bug, I'm sure it's not going to work. Yeah, of course it's not going to work. Now, the active part of this ability deals ability damage to all enemies in the targeted area. It's kind of a short little line, but it can definitely come in handy quite well. Now, the Sylphin also gains bonus damage at those 20, 50, 90, and 140 soul stacks. Now, the ability damage, 70 to 115, with the power scaling of 0.2. It doesn't really do much with power, but because you gain 1 damage per stack, 1 extra damage on this ability per stack that you have, it really can deal a significant amount of damage. In late game here in this in this game, I think we were doing like 300 and some. It's significant. The extra ability damage on those 20, 50, 90, 40 stacks is 10, 15, 20, and 25. And the extra health that Sevarog gets per soul stack is 3. So every time you get a stack, Sevarog gains 3 health. Now here I try to, I get the I get the jungle, the river buff. I'm level 3 by the time I get there. Fantastically done here in the early game, but unfortunately, the gank goes sour. Now that we've talked about kind of the main thing about Sevarog, gaining those stacks with his abilities and his Sylphin, what you need to know is that early jungle clear. Sevarog, you have to start in the one at the top, the north white camp. You have to kite them around and get them down, each of them, to low health so that you can use a Sylphin to get both of them at the same time. Now, you can use your Sylphin to animation cancel. So if you do one attack into a Sylphin, you can animation cancel real nice. So as you can see, I'm getting all of them down to low health, and we go circular around the camps here. As you can see, 255 as I kill that, and I get to the river buff perfectly at 3 minutes. It's hard to do on Sevarog. He is the hardest jungler, I think, to do that. Unfortunately, I simply wasn't there. And as you can notice here, I'm using a Stalker Sylphin instead of that Oasis Sylphin. Oasis Sylphin, much, much better. Now, the second of Sevarog's abilities, and another very, very important one, is called his Subjugate. What happens is, Sevarog targets a circle on the ground, calling down a burst of dark energy that does ability damage and applies a root for 1 second to all enemies hit. When the root expires, the target receives a 3-second slow. So the ability damage, 75 to 210 with 0.5 power scaling. It can deal an okay amount of damage. The mana cost, you don't really have to worry about it, but it is fairly significant, so you can't just go spamming this ability all the time. The movement speed slow is 160 to 280, and again, the cooldown is really quite. You got to use it once at the beginning of an engagement, maybe to secure something or not, and then make sure that you secure. Very important ability here. There's a bit of a delay between when the actual the root happens, and you can see me here using it to clear those camps, just because these off jungle camps here are full now at the 4.5 minute mark. You have to kind of start using the abilities. What will help though is the jungle drink and shaman's drink. I had to get rid of the jungle drink in the final deck there, so you'll only have the shaman's drink. What the shaman's drink does, once you're at level, here I get it at level 4, 5 and above, it's better than a mana potion and will really help you use one more Sylphin or 2 per camp so that you can kind of get those down quicker, so you can be more relevant in lanes when you're trying to do good jungler ganking rotation stuff. The last ability that the second ability that you should actually get so you can get to the next camp in time, because you're gonna get level 3 by the time you get the river camp, so kinda doesn't matter. The Phantom Rush will help get you to your next camp in time. Sevarog rushes forward 1,000 units, and you just see me use it there to do exactly what I was talking about. You glide through all enemies and minions in your way, so that really helps you kind of get a sticky situations of your body blocked, or just kind of go through a big minion wave or something like that. The mana cost, you don't really got to worry about it, 45, and the cooldown 16 to 10 seconds in the late game. Especially in the late game, you can use it to get behind people and use his ultimate, which is the last ability here that we get. It's called Colossal Blow. Sevarog gives one mighty swing of his hammer, dealing ability damage and knocking back enemy heroes a fair amount. It really is quite fair. The ability damage 190 to 330, power scaling of 0.75. It can definitely hurt. The mana cost is 100, and the cooldown is only 30 seconds. So what this ability is meant for is, in the jungle, you can get the whole minion wave down to half health or not even, and just Colossal Blow, boom, kill the entire minion wave for only 30 mana, or for 100 mana, but it's nice and consistent. Of course, in engagements, you can use it to peel for your allies to hit enemies away, or a lot of the time, you can hit enemies toward your friendly team to really make sure that you can secure a kill. Great ability that, when used properly, can do a tremendous, it can do a lot in the course of a battle here. You can see I subjugate this Morigesh. I don't get behind her enough, and I kind of hit her off to the side, but I continue to press the thing here, trying to get her, but the whole entire team here comes rushing forward, and I'm like, nope, simply have to retreat there. And that's a small glimpse at the potential of Sevarog to kind of get good ganks off and kind of secure kills. Unfortunately, Belka and I didn't really synergize well there, and we couldn't make that happen. Now, don't be afraid to use a Sylphin off the beginning of your wave clear here, because it does a significant amount of damage, and it really can help you do the wave clear. Hit him once, animation cancel into a Sylphin really works well, especially on enemy heroes. That's a good burst of damage that, because Sevarog swings quite hard, it can deal a good amount of damage. Here, I use it a little early, and I thought my subjugate would kill him, but no, it doesn't. So, wave clear, pretty good, especially with your Shaman's Drink. You can really start getting wave clear going pretty quick. Here is another gank here that simply showcases Sevarog's power. I'd want to hit the Morigesh, but they kind of see me coming and don't get behind him enough. We get the Sevarog, but this is the crowd control layering that we get on Sevarog. The Muriel isn't enough. Unfortunately, I go down there. I do claim the kill with my Sylphin, giving me three stacks there. That's only increasing the damage from my Sylphin and giving me health that I need to be tanky later on. Now, the next card here we get is the Whirling Wand, and it's really good. Sevarog, his basic attack is really slow, so any amount of kinetic, especially only 3 CP's worth, really ups his damage output. He swings faster, making the fact that he hits hard increases DPS so much. They're fantastic gank. Subjugate into the Colossal Blow to knock out the Muriel, take her out so she can't heal the ridiculous Revenant, and we take them out. Fantastic, fantastic. Oh, it feels so good when you do good Sevarog things. Here, I missed the Subjugate, which would have been that Wukong's death, because the Klong there was gonna land that sword as well. You really gotta land it. Sevarog, he's really picky, and you have to play him well. You have to execute him well in order for him to be useful. Sevarog with a purple buff. Absolutely scary. So I actually didn't even need to use my Colossal Blow here, because our phase there was rooting her. But again, I take her out with the Subjugate to get 3 more stacks. Now, you might be wondering, why all this damage? We've gotten an Elder Mage Amulet with a whole bunch of damage, but it also gives us some health. Yeah, there's a Guardian's Ward in there with some health, but this is a lot of damage. It simply helps get you stacks. Taking out this Muriel once again with a Subjugate to really keep her in place. A Phantom Rush, I always forget what that's called, to kind of bring us through her, to kind of body block her to get into some stacks, and to get some attacks, and then a Subjugate to get those 3 stacks. Now here, I do a good job of kind of keeping this Wukong busy while the rest of my team kind of does stuff, and well, I just don't die. So the Stab Link is really nice. Not only can you use it to reposition all over the place, get out of bad situations, but a Stab Link forward into a Colossal Blow to take somebody out, or just tell a Stab Link forward to initiate or just get in the way of somebody is fantastic. It saves your Phantom Rush, it saves your Subjugate, so you can have those available for when you actually need them. Super strong on Sevarog, because it basically saves 2 abilities. You either have to engage with the Phantom Rush or engage with the Subjugate, but this way you can save those. Yeah, Stab Link takes away your health, but you got a lot of it. And since it only goes off your base health, it really doesn't end up hurting all that much. So this is what I'm talking about. Stab Link forward into a Colossal Blow to isolate high priority targets. I try to get the Revenant there, but primarily the Muriel. I end up knocking away the the Wukong. I subjugate him after that, try to focus him down, but the team couldn't really follow that up. So yes, you're doing a pretty good amount of damage, especially when you kind of your burst, subjugate into Colossal Blow, into Sylphin, another Sylphin, etc., etc. It's pretty good, but unfortunately you still need your team to follow up, especially when you isolate high priority targets like that for your team. The next card I get here is the Mad Spore Sash. It's really quite interesting. It deals, it's a radiate damage aura that really helps with wave clear and also just dealing more damage. Because we're going to be a tank, we're going to be just sticking by the enemies so much. Every second I can stay in the enemy backline, in the front lines, that's going to deal damage. You can see it really helps take out these camps. You can get this earlier if you want to be, you know, to have some wave clear. It's just, it's expensive. It's 6 CP. So if you have a really good run or something, and you're sitting on 3 or something, and you get 6, sure, you can get it. But here at this point, I'm getting it. Yeah, to help with the wave clear and a little bit of damage, because we're doing so well in this game. It also has guard on it for some tankiness. Sevarog, he's the ultimate chaser. We're chasing down this Morigesh. We take her out. Here's a Wukong. I'm like, nah, I don't think you're getting away, buddy. I carefully wait for my subjugate at the perfect moment and take him out. Honestly, guys, this is the beginning of the end. You can see there's only a few more minutes because executing Sevarog well, I think, is really snowbally. He gets those stacks, he can do damage, he works really well with card points, to be honest, with money. He works great with cards, with some good amount of kinetic, especially for his basic attacks. You can see here again, there's that Phantom Rush working to go through enemies that was being body blocked by, and just ridiculous. That's a ridiculous snowball here with a good amount of damage. Burst damage, we can go into tankiness too, get rid of this if our team needs frontline. But you can see, I'm not even past the first like 4 starting items. But I thought this was a good enough gameplay game to showcase for you guys, so that you can kind of learn from that. So just crazy. I missed the subjugate there, but I really, it's the end of the game as I stabbling forward here to take out the core. One thing I didn't do well in this game, getting that blood-soaked armor to help out my teams with the raptors that we did get. Something I really didn't do, so bad on me. Now, there wasn't too many slows or stuns, so I wouldn't have gotten Thermobond. We were ahead anyway, so I would have gone for the Tainted Magic. The Trader's Touch really, really helps because of the way the math works with Sevarog. Trader's Touch is 110% worth it, even on any target at pretty much a quarter to a third health. Even when they are a quarter and a third health, Trader's Touch still pays for it. Yes, it doesn't feed into his abilities, but still, when you're just hammering away in the front line, when you're nice and tanky, extremely good value there. Snakevine Mesh just gets you that ability armor. Mad Spore Sash, look at all of that guard. And Thick Blood, again, helps because you are kind of going in there. You can stabbling forward into a Colossal Blow on the enemy phase, or Revenant, or Muriel in this case. Get them out of the way. That's Thick Blood applied on them. They'll hit the ground. You'll land your subjugate. They'll probably be like, oh no, Quenching Scales. But boom, Thick Blood's already applied. That's shuts that down. Or if anybody really, if it's the carry, it'll shut down their lifesteal quite a bit. Really good card on Sevarog. Plus his Sylphin, you can use it, what, every 5 seconds, I think the cooldown is. So you'll have 1 second just from your Sylphin alone that Thick Blood won't be applied. So he can apply that very, very, very often. Very good. Awesome. That was a fantastic game. I felt like an absolute god. And I thought, obviously, that was a good game to show you. Even though there were some misplays in there. I didn't get blood-soaked armor. I didn't have my Oasis Sylphin. Because I was an idiot. And so there's some misplays there, but fantastic. Absolutely love it. Let me know down in the comments, guys, what you guys think about this deck. Please, ladies and gentlemen, Like this video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, share it to the community, and of course, subscribe. If you guys like this content, especially if you found it useful, please subscribe so I can do it for you in the future. Till next time, like always, stay optimistic and positive.